The serve is one of the most important shots in pickleball, but it's also one of the most overlooked. A hard serve can keep your opponents back on the baseline longer, it can set you up for an easier third shot, or it can even win entire points. It's very easy to learn and it's super quick to master. Now, the most important thing about the serve is you need to try to keep it as deep on the court as possible. And the reason being is if you hit a serve towards the middle of the court and it bounces here, it's not really putting a lot of pressure on your opponent. It doesn't force them to stay back. It actually can allow them to scoot in a little bit and take the return here, reducing the distance in between them and the kitchen, which isn't a great thing. So your main goal while serving is not necessarily to hit it as hard as you can. It's not necessarily to hit it as low to the net as you can, but it's to try to get it as deep on the court as you can. You want to try to get it as close to the baseline. So this drill is a very simple one, but it's also one of the most important when you're working on your serve. I have two cones placed on the opposing serving square where I would normally serve to. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit 5 balls to each cone. And the cones are placed around 2 to 3 feet from the baseline, and that's always a really good place to aim for. So I'm just going to hit a few serves. Again, I'm not focusing necessarily on the pace. I'm more focusing on how far I can get that serve to land on their side. And once you start getting more and more comfortable with the serve, you actually can start to add a bit more pace. The most important part, like I said, is keeping it deep, but it's also good if you can add a bit of speed to the shot. And once you're really comfortable with hitting it deep on the court, you can start to do that. It's really important when you're doing any drills like this that you really focus on hitting the ball as you would in a game. If you're not going to try to hit it as hard as you can in a game, don't do it here. You want to practice as you play. So I'm not trying to go for too much because in a game, normally I'm not going to try to win every single point with my serve. I'm just going to try to get it in and maybe put a little bit of pressure on them. So yeah, that's the most important part about a hard serve, is you want to try to get it as deep on the baseline as you can, preferably about 2 to 3 feet from the line. If you don't, that's okay, but if you do, that's really good. It'll keep the opponents on their toes, and sometimes it might even win you a few points.